Rockford City Council will vote Monday on a $9.5 million settlement with the man who was wrongfully convicted of murder. 48-year-old John Horton spent 23 years in prison in the case. Horton claims the Rockford Police Department coerced his confession and fabricated evidence as they investigated the death of Arthur Castaneda on Charles Street in 1993. Horton was originally sentenced to life behind bars. The city of Rockford says after careful consideration, we determined that avoiding a costly trial and reaching a settlement of $9.5 million was the most prudent course of action to safeguard taxpayer dollars. While no resolution in a situation like this is ideal, it was clear based on similar cases locally and nationally that a potential judgment against the city could have cost significantly more, potentially 3 times as much.